Hey guys, so today I want to do a quick overview of the Wolverine MTW Wraith Aero stock. Now the Aero stock is a really cool invention by Wolverine Airsoft that allows you to use HPA tanks as well as CO2 tanks or CO2 cartridges, such as the 33 gram CO2 cartridge or cylinder and the 12 gram CO2 cartridge. Although they do recommend using the Wraith CO2 adapter for those particular cartridges or cylinders, because it allows a space for the CO2 or a so-called expansion chamber for the CO2 to expand before it hits the actual regulator. That way it does not damage any O-rings or mess up your engine by gunking it up anyway. So let's go ahead and do a quick overview of how this system actually works. So there is a regulator right inside of here, which allows your tank, which is right here, to directly thread into the back of your gun or to the stock of your gun, therefore creating a lineless HPA gun. And there are other actual systems just like this by, like, I believe there's a Redline tankless stock, Polar Star UGS, or I forgot what the actual acronym stands for, but it allows you to use the same concept but with AEGs or other replicas that you can modify and slap it on the back of that gun. This right here, though, is pretty much a bolt and play, or pretty much you bolt it in and ready to go. It's a factory install part that you don't have to do any modifications for. You literally just unscrew your existing buffer tube and stock and rethread this on with a castle nut. So let's go ahead and do a closer look. This is the actual shroud they send you. Just slaps on top so it covers it up and makes it look more of like a realistic gun. So this is the tank in HK Army 13 3000 HPA tank. This is not a SLP tank. This is a high pressurized air tank. Wire stock that they include. This is the stock adapter, and this right here is the regulator. They want you to use the actual castle nut that it came with your original MTW on the back of your stock, your original buffer tube. So it pretty much just threads on. There is also a hardpoint adapter inside the actual gun right through here. So your engine sits right here. Is the line they give you. Threads into the back of your engine, threads into the hard point. The hard point, then whenever you slide the gun in together, connects into your regulator and creates a chamber for the air to flow through. It literally took me like 20 minutes. The hardest time for me was to get the actual body pins to line back up. In order to do that, I had to back out the regulator about 2 turns, and it slid right back together. And I didn't have any issues with air sealant, any air leaks. And I literally just simply adjusted the screw so my hop up was back shooting straight, because I already had it set for 1.5 joules in the past. And so once it was shooting straight, I knew I was pretty close to what I was shooting at FPS and joules wise before. And when I got in the field, I was at like 1.65, 1.61. Just simply went down a quick turn with the Allen key on top, reducing my PSI, and my gun shooting, my replica, is shooting the way it was when I had a line. I mean, overall, yeah, I haven't really lost any accuracy. The FPS hasn't changed. The FPS consistency hasn't changed yet. It goes from like 1.1 to 1.51 to 1.55 to 1.58, which isn't too much. I mean, if you're looking for a DMR consistency, I'm sure you can make it shoot even better. But for me, I'm just a simple rifleman. I am completely fine with that little deviation. I'll just simply correct my shots on my own. And at the ranges where that will actually create accuracy issues, I'll just send 3 or 4 more shots down range, and I'm sure one of them will hit the person I'm shooting at. Now, whenever you convert your gun over from a buffer tube to this, you lose the storage space for your battery in the buffer tube like the original MTW was set up for. So instead, they provide a little pistol grip adapter right here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see. So pretty much it just pops on and you can store your battery inside of here. I already have it hooked up, but it's ready to shoot as we speak. The batteries are actually plugged in. Besides that, I haven't noticed any FPS differentiation whenever I'm using full auto as well. I don't know if some of y'all might be wondering, but if you use full auto, will it change your FPS flow? No, I haven't noticed anything. I don't use full auto too often, but for kicks and giggles, I did just throw it on and just test it out, and it does work pretty great. After all, it's still just a Wolverine storm regulator. Just instead of it being on your back of your tank, on the external tank, it's right next to your gun. Now, a obvious just observation you can see, you have a smaller tank. I used to run a 3000, even a 4500 carbon tank, which meant I had a lot of air. Now I'm literally reduced to a small 3000 tank, which means that I don't have as many shots. I don't know the exact number on the shot or how many I get, but it's significantly less. So that is something to keep in mind if you are planning on switching over to the Wraith Aero. Now, another option you can do whenever you go to the Wraith Aero, if you don't have a 3000 tank, you still have your normal 3000 heavy tank, or the 3000 heavy tank, you can screw it at the back of the Wraith Aero and run it that way. It'll look big and bulky, but hey, if it works, it works, you know, and until the time being, until you can buy a small tank or invest in a small tank, it'll work. And at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Also, other options are if you have a paintball line, you can simply screw a paintball line from the back of your 3000 or 3000 tank and get the paintball adapter or line adapter, screw it into the bottom of the gun or into the Wolverine Storm regulator and run a paintball line into there. I would not recommend using a regulator, a Storm on tank regulator on your tank and then hooking up into this right here. I don't know if it would work. You'd have to ask Wolverine, the company itself, people that are more experienced. I personally haven't tried it because I think it's a little redundant to run two regulators, one on my tank, one right here. That wouldn't seem to work very well, or two secondary regulators. Besides that, whenever you're removing your actual tank from the gun or installing it in the first place, you need to have your wire stock off. There's a little button at the very bottom right here. There's a button right here. You push this in, and you pull your wire stock off, and then you can twist your tank off or twist it on. Suggestion: whenever you're taking your tank off your gun, trying to depressurize it, I recommend just pulling the trigger in semi-auto, just pulling it as you twist. It'll help relieve the pressure, so you like 1 or 2 shots, and then your pretty much tank will pop right off, versus having to thread it hard while it's pressurized. Besides that, I highly recommend it. Mine was, so the box right here, mine was $255.